Welcome back to another video today here on the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, as I'm sure you guys are always used to rebuilds basically every single time I upload. Today, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, we are not going to be doing a rebuild. Today, we're going to be doing my official 2023 NBA play-in predictions. With the season ending yesterday, officially 1 through 6 are completely locked up in each conference. Obviously, we have to go through a couple days of some play-in games in order to figure out who are going to be the 7 and the 8 seed in both the East and the Western conferences. So this is some of my favorite times of basketball, albeit the matchups aren't as great as you would kind of hope. This is still a really, really fun time because it gives us all a really big sneak peek into playoff basketball. We all know how much we all really, really love that. And I'm really looking forward to some of these matchups this year. So I'll try to keep this short. I don't want the intro to be too long, but I do want to go over something else that's really important and something I'm doing for the first time ever that I'm really looking forward to. And it's something that actually fully includes you guys as well. So what I'm going to do is I have a blank playoff bracket right now with everything the way that it is right now here on Monday, April 10th. Everything it is right now. No play-ins happened yet. No playoff games has happened yet. What we are going to do is I'm going to put out a poll on my community tab before every single round starts, including the play-in, and I'm going to let you guys predict who's going to come out in whatever series, whether it's a play-in series, first round, second round, conference finals, and then all the way up to the NBA finals. And then after the NBA finals in a couple months, we're going to go ahead, we're going to take a look at how close you guys got to being actually 100% right. So I'm really looking forward to that. Most likely tomorrow, if not later today, first one of those we're going to be coming out for the play-in. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Of course, I'll keep you guys all updated on Twitter as well. Make sure to go follow me on there. Of course, you guys have not yet subscribed to me here on YouTube. So that was a mouthful. I know that was a lot of information, but I really wanted to find a way to kind of give you guys some say, kind of include you guys a little bit more. And hopefully that we kind of found a happy medium. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to this. So really do me a favor. Go hit that vote button on whatever you think is going to end up happening. Poll will be out pretty soon, but let's officially get into my play-in predictions. So we're going to start in the Eastern Conference with the 7 versus the 8 matchup, that being the Atlanta Hawks going up against the 7-seeded Miami Heat. When I look at this matchup, it's probably one of my favorite matchups throughout the play-in, and I say that because I think it has the chance to potentially be the most competitive game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to spend 10 minutes rambling about each game because that would be a very long video, but we'll talk about each game a little bit and why I think the team is going to win in each separate game. So my prediction, just to be upfront with you guys in this 7 versus 8 game, I think Miami is going to come out of this 7 versus 8 game. The biggest factor to why is Jimmy Butler. I mean, playoff Jimmy Butler is just a completely different breed than the guy he is during the regular season. He is an unbelievably talented player, and it really, really emphasizes that when we get into the play-in and the playoffs especially. So I think they ultimately come out of this 7 versus 8 matchup, which means they'll be taking on the Celtics, who are the 2 seed, in round 1 of the NBA playoffs. Just some stats right now to read to you guys kind of why I think this is going to be the way it's going to be. Heat are up 3-1 on the season series right now. The current spread is Heat minus 5.5, which means they're favored to win by technically 5 or more points. The over/under 227.5. I don't love that. And then the Heat are minus 215 in terms of the money line. So for me right now, I just think playoff Jimmy's different. I think they have the best player in the series. That's why I think the Heat are going to win this matchup. In terms of the 9 versus the 10 in the Eastern Conference, it is the 9-seeded Toronto Raptors against the 10-seeded Chicago Bulls. Obviously, you have DeMar DeRozan going up against his old team. Always a really, really fun matchup whenever we get to watch anybody really play against one of their old teams. So this is an interesting matchup for me. I don't really love either of these teams in terms of the playoffs, to be completely honest with you. I'm not trying to make a case that the Raptors aren't a good team, because the Raptors definitely have some good pieces on their team. I have but that team that I watched, they played my Celtics in back-to-backs, and only the first one was really important. I have never seen a team really look so uninterested, and just really, it doesn't even look like they kind of wanted to be there. For me, I think DeMar DeRozan is a guy who's proven he can go out and win in the playoffs a little bit anyways, Eastern Conference Finals, really. I think DeMar and the Bulls and Zach LaVine and Vucevic and Patrick Williams and all these guys, I think they'll get it done. I think they're going to be a 10 seed moving up to the second round of the play-in. I think ultimately they'll take on the Atlanta Hawks in round 2. And yeah, for me, Toronto just doesn't move the needle enough. I'm going to go with the guys who have been there before, who have won there before, and I know the Raptors won a championship. It's a very different team, though. Which officially brings us to our last play-in game of the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the loser of the 7 versus 8 matchup versus the winner of the 9 versus 10 matchup. In my prediction here, it's going to be the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Chicago Bulls in that final game to determine who's the 8 seed, determine who is likely going to get their ass kicked by the Milwaukee Bucks in round 1. I'm just going to be completely out there and open with you guys. I think it's going to be Atlanta. I think it's going to be Atlanta for a lot of reasons. When I take a look at how this matches up right now, I'm assuming that Chicago's probably going to try to put somebody like Alex Caruso on Trae Young. For me, I just think there's too much talent on that Atlanta team for them to go out there and lay up 2 back-to-back losses in terms of playing games. I really think we're going to get a rematch of the 2021 Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think it'll be a series like that. I think the Bucks will probably either sweep them or go in 5, but we're not there yet. We're not to the first round yet. But for me, that's just the way I see it going. I think Trae Young is going to play a whole lot better against the Chicago Bulls than he is going to be against the Miami Heat, because I don't think he plays necessarily very well against the Miami Heat. So that is officially how it's going to look, in my opinion anyways, in terms of the East. I have the Miami Heat coming out as the 7th seed, going to be taking on the Celtics in round 1, and I have the Atlanta Hawks coming out as the 8th seed, taking on the Milwaukee Bucks in round 1. And starting over here in the West, in what's probably the easiest game to predict out of all of these playing games, you have the 7th-seeded Los Angeles Lakers taking on the 8th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota potentially had the worst end to a regular season you possibly could have had. You had Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson literally fighting mid-game. And then you had Jaden McDaniels punching a wall and breaking his hand. I actually don't think it gets much worse than that. For me, this is an easy one. I don't think there's a way the Lakers don't win this game. I think LeBron and Anthony Davis will dominate, and I ultimately think that the Lakers are going to cruise to that 7th seed. They'll end up taking on Memphis in round 1 of the 2022 Western Conference playoffs. This 9 vs 10 game is an interesting one for me. Obviously, a lot of us, probably even a couple months ago, thought that the Dallas Mavericks were going to be a team that at a minimum would have been in a play-in game, especially after they traded for Kyrie. Their season went a completely different way than they thought it was going to. That team is a hot mess right now, which means the Oklahoma City Thunder end up in a play-in game. They're going to be taking on the 9-seeded New Orleans Pelicans here in the first round of the play-in. And for me, this is a fun matchup. I really, really like this because you have a team in New Orleans who, albeit hasn't had their best player in a very long time in Zion Williamson, against a really young and up-and-coming team in the Oklahoma City Thunder who have surprised a lot of people this season, myself included. So this is a super fun matchup. I'm going to go an interesting route. I really, really firmly believe that Oklahoma City is going to pull off the upset, if you want to call it. I think OKC takes down New Orleans in round 1, and I'm calling it rounds because obviously they have to win 2 games. Not really rounds, but they're games, you know what I mean, in order to go ahead, and they'll obviously play the loser of the 7 vs 8 game in the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I have OKC coming out on top against the New Orleans Pelicans. Our final game in the Western Conference play-in is going to be between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The winner of that game will end up playing at the Denver Nuggets in round 1 of the Western Conference playoffs, as the Nuggets are the 1 seed in the West. I'm going to stand by kind of what I said. I think Minnesota's season is over. I think Minnesota has to take a very big look in the mirror and decide which direction they want to go with their franchise. They have a great, unbelievable young talent in Anthony Edwards. Rudy Gobert trade is going to haunt them for a very, very long time. More of the draft picks is what they gave up. But for me, I think there is still some talent on this team. I just really do believe that OKC is going to get it done. I think Oklahoma City is ultimately going to end up as the 8th seed in the Western Conference. I don't necessarily know how that first round would go against Denver, but I don't know, man. Something about SGA and that OKC team. They are young. They are ready for it, in my opinion, man. So I have Oklahoma City coming out as the 8th seed in the Western Conference, end up taking on Denver in round 1. And so, yeah, man, the 4 teams that I have coming out are going to be the Miami Heat, the Atlanta Hawks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that is my prediction as things stand. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing one of these before every round starts, so I don't know the exact day the first round starts. I know the first games are Saturday, so should have everything finalized. Probably Friday I'll make a video going over what I think will happen in the first round, and I'll probably be a little bit longer than this. But yeah, man, those are my predictions. Feel free to let me know any of your thoughts on my predictions down below in the comment section. More than willing to have some conversations down there. Tell me why I'm right. Tell me why I'm wrong. I don't care. Let me know. And also, please be on the lookout. I'm really, really looking forward to this subscriber playoff bracket. I think it's going to be one of my favorite ideas I've actually ever had. I think it's a great way to get an entire community involved. Really see how you guys kind of match up versus what actually ends up happening in the playoffs. So be on the lookout for that. It'll definitely be out soon on my community tab, and I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter as well. So as always, thanks so much for watching. I know this wasn't the typical rebuild. Those will probably be coming back tomorrow. And yeah, let me know any of your thoughts down below in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.